Hello, everybody. My name is T. I am joined by Daragh to talk about Succeed or Perish, specifically their first team. So yeah, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to the new season. So
Yeah, it's always an exciting time when WL comes back.
I know, yeah. It's nice this season. The off season period was quite short, and it was
Yeah.
particularly short because both of my divisions, regs and CTs, from season 13 ran over quite a lot. So just finished up today, and all of a sudden it's a quick turnaround to season 14.
Yeah, a little
So
bit different
nice.
than a lot of people.
Yeah, it's different. It's different than most seasons, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about stock, shall we? Yeah. So
hmm
I think you guys were one team last year or last season,
Yeah, yeah. We just had one team in season 13
and
in
then
CTD
you
3.
guys suddenly
But
have, I think, is it two or three teams? I still have three
we have
teams.
we have three. We have gold, silver, and bronze
Yeah.
in
Wow.
divisions one, two, and three.
How did you get so
To
many
be honest,
members?
I I honestly can't answer that question really. Like it's
Okay.
just kind of just it was an idea that was brought up because we had a lot of people who wanted a WL, and
Hmm.
obviously we wanted everyone to get some game time. So we were always talking about two teams because SOP has had two teams in season 11 and 12, but we just kept compiling members, and then one of the leaders just decided one day, why don't we try and get three teams?
Okay,
So
okay.
just kind of the weeks after we decided that, we just recruited people for WL, and particularly towards the end of transfer deadline, we got some decent players to join us who were looking for teams. So it's worked out pretty well, if I'm honest.
Who are the other leaders besides you?
So the main leaders are myself and Raptor for gold.
Okay.
The silver leaders are Pascal and Epix, and the bronze leaders are Eric and KP.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I guess you already mentioned this, but you guys have a lot of D1 talent. I feel like there's a few from different teams. I remember talking with Emil that some of them are have played together, but a lot of
Uh
it is
huh.
from like a lot of D1 teams. How do you think that would affect like chemistry and like I guess how
Well,
did scrims go as well? Because it's kind of a
yeah,
new
we've
team and stuff like
we've
that.
we've played we've played a few practice wars, maybe not with the whole gold LU, but we've played a couple practice wars, and chemistry has been quite good, to be fair, because for like a main lineup, Trevor and Mike have really good chemistry together, and so do the German trio of Raptor, Mace, and Kenny.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
okay.
just again, I'm the bagger, so chemistry is not particularly needed there. So it I don't know how it's going to work out in the beginning, but
Hmm.
I think it'll be okay. I don't see it as much of an issue.
And you guys have a pretty
Uh,
small roster, right? I think you have like
Yeah, I
eight
think
or something.
we have 9 registered, I think, but one
Mm.
of them doesn't have a Wii, so
Oh, okay.
doesn't have a working Wii, so we just have the bare minimum of 8. But
Okay.
with the rule set, we can bring up someone from silver if we need
Mm.
to a particular week. So that's good for it. It promotes. I like that rule. It promotes teams to have multiple teams and have players in different teams because
Do,
it's helpful. It stops teams from dropping, and yeah.
do you think you'll utilize that sometime this season? I'm assuming so.
Well, we don't plan to utilize it, but
Okay.
if it's needed, then we will utilize it. Like we'd rather bring up someone from one of our other teams instead of having to 4v5 or
Okay.
forfeit a game
So
in the instance that people cannot play, which it's Mario Kart. Like not everyone has lives outside of the game,
yeah.
so
So it's mainly
it's not.
through availability, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like
Now, to be
if
fair though, most of the lineup are pretty active and
Mhm.
pretty reliable. That you should get 5 each week around default or at another time. But obviously, like I said already, it's Mario Kart and people have lives outside it, so it's not always easy to get 5.
All right. So how did you get these guys? Did they just I think were they just like trying to look for teams? Did you just reach out to them?
Well, about 6 months ago, I think Kenny and Mace joined, kind of as socials, but that was partly down to FL becoming relatively inactive, and
Mm.
they just kind of started playing a lot more for SOP because of FL's inactivity, and SOP kept getting more active, and then they just decided that they wanted a WL with us. So, and then as for Trevor, I think Trevor asked to join about a month ago or so, and then he asked Mike to play. So that's kind of how we gathered the players that we
the
have.
only people I noticed that were from the last season's SOP team was you, Raptor, and Epics, and Desaya, or Desia, I don't know how to pronounce that.
So, yeah, I think out of the 9 registered, we only have 3 from last season, which is myself, Raptor, and Desaya.
Okay.
But because the rest of the lineup are either playing for silver or bronze, or Yules went back to PP because obviously that's where he's been playing for multiple seasons.
Yeah, which is like mech basically.
Yeah,
I always think of them as mech. It's just they have like those random ass names.
Well, they have a different name every season. It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. All right, so you guys have been placed in Division 1, which is, I think when I see the name SOP, I don't think Division 1, but looking at your lineup, you guys seem pretty ready for Division 1. So what are your thoughts on the other teams in Division 1?
Yeah, well, it's the first time SOP has ever been placed in Division 1, because for multiple seasons we were placed in season 11 and 12 we were placed in D2, but we only won 2 games in 2 seasons. So and then in season 13 we were lucky enough to be placed in Division 3 when we arguably had a better squad, and we dominated the division, which was a nice break, which was a nice change. But we're back into CPD1, so dominating period is over. But when it a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of worried because we always knew we were kind of going to be placed in Division 1 with other teams dropping. But with the additions of Trevor and Mike, we're a lot more prepared for D1 now.
Yeah.
I still don't see us as a top seed at all. I mean, on paper, we're probably, ourselves and EA are probably the 5th and 6th best teams on paper. But obviously, as we've seen earlier with Mal and Daisy, not everything is easy. And
they just played today. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mal beat Daisy, which is not many people predicted.
Yeah, I was talking to Emil, not about like who he would think. He said that was it you guys would actually have a chance to bring some upsets, I believe.
Well, I mean, that's obviously the plan. I mean, our goal. There's playoffs in our division, which is the bracket format. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but it's the top. I know it's the top 4, and it gives every team in the division a realistic chance to finish 4th and scrape a playoff, and then obviously everything is just a toss up from there. In playoffs, you can get lucky and get a couple wins, and all of a sudden you're in finals. So
yeah,
obviously the goal is to try and make the playoffs and proceed from there, but it's not going to be easy because it's the top division of CTs. So
yeah, who do you think would MVP your division?
I can't look past Flary, to be honest. I think he's the best player on the best team. If I'm honest, I think FL are going to win the season, especially with the random only format, which I think it helps them a lot.
Yeah, speaking of random only, so can you like explain a little bit, because I think it's just like 20 random tracks or something.
Okay, so every week at 3 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday, so that's 1 hour after default, Council releases the track list for the following week, which consists of 20 random tracks. I don't know how they do it, or I think it's just a random.org generator or whatever. And they give out the list a week in advance. So what's happened basically since last Sunday is teams have played week 1 only wars, which has meant every team has got a chance to practice both bagging and running on the tracks for this week. And I think it's going to work quite well. At first I was kind of like, you don't really want this, but kind of as I'm getting into it more, it's not too bad. I think it's helped as well. My opinion's helped as well by the week 1 tracks are quite friendly, if I'm honest. I don't think every week is going to be like this. So,
what were the week 1 tracks actually? Like, what were some like main ones that was kind of like stood out to you?
Let me get the list here. I have the list handy. So, the main tracks, I suppose, the main meta tracks would be stuff like Thunder City, uh, Abyssal Ruins, the
Hmm.
Rabbit Hole, um, Rainbow Road 2, the GBA Rainbow Road 2, Cotton Plant Forest for luck, and Autumn Leaves Way for luck as well, which
Yeah.
is there are 6 tracks that will be picked, or at least from what I think, are picked quite a lot of wars.
Hmm.
So and there's very few bad retros in there as well, which is nice.
Okay. What are some like interesting tracks that came up on that list?
Well, there's tracks here like N64 Calamari Desert, which
Huh.
is
Was that?
one of the biggest luck tracks going, and it's just I don't think I've ever played a war. I think I've played one war ever playing that track.
Hmm.
And Halogen Highway is another one, which is absolutely never picked, and it's on the list as well. So
I
certainly it certainly brings a different perspective to CTs.
Did you watch the Daisy versus Malwar?
I had the stream on, but I think I was playing at the same time. But I was kind of watching it.
Okay. Did you notice like
I
any
know.
weird tracks that were picked from either side?
I'm just looking through the track list. I'm trying to think here what was picked. I know obviously Daisy picked the Rabbit Hole. They
Yeah.
picked Black Rose Castle, which were their main 2 tracks. I know Mal picked obviously Rainbow Road 2, which is their best track by far.
Hmm.
And they also picked Thunder City. But they were mostly the meta tracks. I didn't see any of the real unusual tracks being picked. I suppose. I think
I'm
it
assuming,
was just all the common tracks.
yeah, I'm assuming like people will pick tracks that they're most comfortable with, and then over
Yeah.
time, like once the track pool gets more limited, they'll try to pick tracks that are more kind of
Hmm.
unorthodox.
Yeah. Well, the first GP of most CT random wars will probably be tracks that you would see commonly enough in a non-random war. But then it's when you get into GP3 when you're kind of there. I've noticed this with a couple of scrim wars. You're kind of like, what do we pick now? It's like none of these tracks are good, or none of these tracks are good for our spots, and it's just like it certainly is just a completely different puts a different twist on it.
Mm.
And I think, like I said, I think it's gonna be quite successful.
Yeah.
The majority of our team are quite quite fine with it. I think Raptor is the only person who was totally against it, but even
Yeah.
he doesn't mind the track pool this week. So
Oh, really? Yeah. I remember when I was talking to him, he was like, "Oh God, this is." He said in very colorful
well,
language he did not like it.
yeah. Well, I mean, about when this was confirmed, maybe a month or two ago, he said he wouldn't be playing CTWL anymore. But um, his opinions changed a little bit on it, particularly with the track pool this week.
Nice. So yeah, I guess the last thing is, I believe you're bagging for
Yeah,
Sub Gold.
I will be bagging for Soft
So
Gold.
I guess a lot of people know really how to bag on regs. I guess can you talk about the different dynamics between bagging on CTs and bagging on regs?
Yeah, well, basically, I think most people know this, but CT bagging is just full of shocks in ninth. Everything, not everything, but there is a strong percentage of tracks are sitting tracks where you're just getting boxes in ninth. So it's so many shocks come from ninth compared to regs, because on regs there are only really 2 or 3 sitting tracks compared to CTs. I think it's I don't know the exact percentage, but it's definitely something like 60-40 for sitting to fully baggable tracks.
Hmm.
So it's I would say it's a bit more strategic than reg bagging, because you can't just learn strats. You have to be able to kind of not let the other bagger get 10th place boxes. I find with CT bagging that it's very easy to get 10th place boxes at a sitting track, because the majority of tracks, one side of the item boxes will have you further back on the position tracker than another side. And learning that is honestly a huge advantage for bagging, because people think you get the shock in ninth, but really you're getting 10th place boxes, and people don't even realize it.
Oh, that's interesting. So like the position tracker really is a huge part in like
It does. I would say of however percentage of tracks are sitting, I would say at least half of them, there is one box that is further, that will put you in 10th or will put you further back than the other boxes. And not many people, not unless you're an experienced CT bagger, you don't even realize that, because normally people kind of just go on opposite sides when they're bagging, and it's something to kind of note for people who are not experienced, that to maybe experiment with it in wars, which boxes are actually further back than other ones.
Do you do any like bagging rooms with like other baggers in SOP or just in general? Because I know for me, I remember I used to do a lot of bagging like GPs for practice with Viraith and Frozen and Enigma when I played, and then also for BC, I played with Mask one time as well. So do you do any of those Beyond strats?
Not really, not anymore.
Okay.
Back when I was learning CT bagging, I used to do them a little bit more with other SOP members or other baggers, and I suppose that's kind of where I learned the basics from, which was just like other people who maybe aren't even baggers, but no strats were able to show me the strats, and from there then it's just about learning them, and then the best way to practice bagging is actually by warring, you know. So that's just how I've got better at it or whatever.
All right, sounds good. So I think that's it. Any last words or anything you want to say?
Honestly, I don't have an awful lot more to say. I'm just in general, I'm just looking forward to playing in CTD1, because I'll have played now in 3 CT divisions, so it's just nice to get a bit of a variety. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the season. I'm not really optimistic. It'd be nice to make playoffs, but even if we finish 5th or whatever, like it's not the end of the world. Like we don't have the strongest roster on paper, but it's just like I said, it's Mario Kart Wii, and it's not easy to predict, and it's all just on a particular war, so
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I upsets can't happen. I mean, we saw Mal beat Daisy, who were like defending champs for D1.
I know, yeah. They
And
went
I think
like
Mal were D2 at the time, right?
Mal didn't play CTs last
okay.
season.
I'm thinking
because,
of their reg. Yeah, I'm thinking of regs. I think they played regs.
but
Oh no, I'm
they
thinking
didn't play.
I'm thinking of Extend Ash. I think.
You might be thinking of EA or
Yeah,
even
yeah.
HRST,
Right,
because
right.
they played in D2 last. They both played in D2
Okay.
last season.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Yeah, but yes, you know that's I know. Hopefully, who do you play this week actually?
we play Extend Dash. It
Ooh,
is
okay.
on tomorrow, which is Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So
All right.
it's a nice time to play, because they have a couple of Japanese people, so it's not easy when you're trying to organize wars with Japanese, Europeans, and Americans. It can be difficult, but 12
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern is a pretty nice time for everyone.
All right. Do you have any predictions for the match? Do you think you're gonna stomp them? Do you think you can? Do you think it can be close? What do you think?
I think it's going to be close. Previously, in any scrim wars we played with EA, they always used to beat us, but in the last while we've started beating them a couple of times, and we've got because we've got stronger players and we've become better. It's becoming a lot close. I think it depends on the lineups that each team has, and obviously, I mean, the tracks make a difference too, but it'll be close, because like I said, on paper we're probably the 5th and 6th teams in the division, so it'll be a quite an important match in the long run for who can possibly come 4th. The two matches between us, ourselves, and Extend Ash will be quite important to see which one of the teams will get 4th, because it's quite unlikely that both teams will make playoffs.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Daragh.
Thank you too.
Yeah. All right. See you, man.
Yeah, see you. Thanks.